Hi guys, I'm Greg.
I'm Greg too.
We're going to be doing a review for the film A Cure for Wellness. Normally we have a green screen that has a picture of it, the movie, to enhance the experience of sitting here with us.
We do.
While John's green hair kind of gets in the way of the green screening effect. But today, we're not going to do that because I left my green screen at a friend's place.
Oh, which friend?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
You don't know her. She's my one black friend.
Really?
Yeah, next to Tyrone.
Wow.
But this one's a she.
This is your second black friend.
Yeah, it's my second black
Oh,
friend. Yeah. Well, Tyrone's not really a friend. He's more of a guy I've heard about
Okay.
on YouTube.
Yeah. I'm just a big fan of his channel, really. We've never met.
Anyway, A Cure for Wellness. Rather than us trying to, come up with something clever to tell you what the plot is about, there's a beautiful website out there called IMDb.
Oh, man.
It stands for Incredible Midgets Dick Big. An ambitious young executive is sent to retrieve his company CEO from an idyllic but mysterious wellness center at a remote location in Swiss Alps, but soon suspects that the spa's mysterious treatments are not what they seem. This film is directed by Gore Verbinski and written by the guy who wrote The Lone Ranger and something that I really picked up on when I was watching this film, Revolutionary Road. It really has that vibe, you know?
Yeah, and Snitch with The Rock and John Bernthal.
You can see why they got this right. You can see why they got this right. This is an original concept. Then a lot of people, after the film was done, kept saying that it harkens back to old school kind of horror films where it's like, this movie's like 2.5 hours long.
It's a big movie.
It's a tension builder. It kind of builds a little too much for me at times. There's a solid part like in the middle where I'm like, I want some things to start actually happening.
Out of the way up front, this movie looks and feels amazing. Like, it's terrific to behold, and there are points in the middle where I feel like it's slow burning to the point where it's coasting more on its aesthetics than actually moving along at an engaging pace some of the time. Like,
I felt like 15 minutes of this film could have been trimmed down at least.
Probably, yeah.
But that's my primary... John, stop kicking the tripod, would you?
I'm so sorry. I'm
basically the third
trying
time
not
you
to
hit it.
I'm trying not to spread my knees too wide and encroach upon your knee space.
Well, you got all this... Why don't you scooch to your left a little bit and spread your knees
out
open?
Of frame.
That's too out of frame. I'm glad Gore Verbinski did this film because the first film I ever saw of his was The Ring, and that was a great horror film.
I always forget that's his film.
Didn't see the original Ring You. Everyone says it's better, but let's face it, The Ring was a monumental film in American horror cinema. I was just so happy for him to be doing another horror film again, and this film is really good. It's great, actually. It's surprisingly it builds so much to the point that when violent stuff starts to happen, it's not throughout, but it can get pretty violent.
When it's time for the movie to either get violent or to get twisted and unsettling, it really does not skimp on that stuff. And there's a lot of body horror and a lot of unsettling sort of unnatural characterizations and stuff. It is a dready, uncomfortable movie.
Yes,
for so much of it. And there are a lot of things we're not going to spoil here, but there are a lot of things that will make you cringe so hard.
Yeah. So this film, it's about this guy, Dane DeHaan. It's Dane DeHaan's biopic. Yeah. Dane DeHaan is this young, corporate investor kind of dude who is being threatened because he'd done some illegal things.
Cooking the books.
And he's been told to go to the Swiss Alps to go retrieve a man who can sign some documents.
Yeah, basically the CEO of the company has gone AWOL. He's holed up at this wellness center, and they need him to sign off on this merger thing, otherwise everyone's in deep shit.
And this film might remind you of films like The Shining or Shutter Island a little bit. So when they go to the Swiss Alps and they go to this location at this wellness center, it's instantly creepy.
Yeah, it has its own vibe, and it is a very sort of pretty but also just dark seeming place.
Oh, yeah. Everyone seems kind of off a little bit, like their brains might be being tampered with. You can't tell if it's manipulation. Are they doing surgery on their brains and getting them to be a little controlled? Because everyone kind of has a freaky personality over at this wellness center. Dane DeHaan gets in an accident that looks like it could be an accident, but he gets thrown into the wellness center and he has to go through treatment as he's going through recovery for his broken leg. And the main thing about this wellness center that they have, the thing they thrive on is their water. They have this pure, natural water that can heal the body.
Yeah, they have this crazy aquifer, like hot spring thing with this
Yeah.
specially enriched water that is sort of the secret to everything.
But Dane DeHaan's getting worse. He's getting worse.
And he notices the people around him kind of are too.
Everyone's getting worse, so Dane DeHaan, being a fucking American, has to be like, I don't like the way things are going. I'm gonna kick my foot in the door and try to figure out what's really going on here.
Investigate this shit myself.
Now, when real investigation of all the shit you saw in the trailer of him like going, what's going on here? I gotta figure it out. That doesn't happen until like an hour into the film. A lot of it is building up. You're getting to know the characters. You get to know Jason Isaacs' character. His character's called Volmer. Or Volmer. And he's basically the guy who runs the institute. The institute is called the Volmer Institute, so he's like the head doctor. And there's other patients, and the main patient they get to know everyone keeps saying is very special patient. Yeah. Mia Goth plays a girl named Hannah. At first, she looks like she's like 15, 16.
Yeah, I couldn't tell
how old she was. And it just seemed like Dane DeHaan was kind of into her.
Yeah.
A little bit. That's not really important to the movie.
They have some kind of connection, because she says it at one point in actually a really nice moment. She says, like, he's the only even vaguely young person here. So I think they just relate on that quality. They're both a little bit outsider in this community.
But it sounds like she was kind of born there. Like, they have this backstory with her where she experienced a lot of trauma, and then she was brought to the wellness center, but they make it sound like she's been practically raised there her whole life.
Yeah, totally.
And Jason Isaacs' character takes a very strong liking to her. So there's a lot of mystery building here, and we don't want to do a spoiler review, because what we just told you is a lot of what you would uncover in the first hour of the film. But here's what we can tell you. This film delivers on being eerie. This film delivers on being creepy.
Yeah.
And there's some great visuals that are sometimes scary, at times just beautiful to look at. John said at first that he wouldn't have minded seeing this film on IMAX. And I agree with that.
Like, honestly, I felt kind of like I was watching an IMAX movie part of the way through. And some of that's just
especially the opening scene, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Like the buildings and stuff, yeah.
The buildings and that train shot with the mirror image from the trailer. Like, everything feels huge in this movie. And that's something that's really cool to me, and I think people will generally appreciate, is like, they really sunk a lot of effort into this movie. The sets and or locations, I guess, the different rooms and the way the world grows based on that. Like, it is very beautiful to look at. Yeah. The designs are incredible. The atmosphere is a character in and of itself.
And there's a lot of mystery going on. It seems like this wellness center is like at the like above a village or something.
Yeah, it sits just above this really small kind of
modern day village. Yeah, small town. The story of the history of the wellness center. Some people have this interpretation, other people have this interpretation. So as the movie continues, you're figuring out what's the real story behind the wellness center and what's the story behind what they're doing now. So you're figuring out the past of how it came to be and what makes it so important and why it's also fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And then you're also learning what the hell's really going on. This is the kind of film that you gotta give it some time. Because after an hour, I started thinking, is this film even gonna start delivering on some stuff? Is this film even gonna start going somewhere where it's thrilling or scary or creepy? Just give it some time. You will leave with a very unsettled feeling.
Yeah, and part of me wonders is, like, if I go back and see this again sometime, because I kind of...
Might be better.
Yeah, and the pace might improve, because there are movies for whom that works, when you know what to expect, so you're not looking as hard in every direction and being like, come on, give me an answer to something. It might improve that way on the second time round.
And that's part of what makes the length of this film is part of what makes it brilliant. Normally a story like this would be like hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes or something. This story is 2.5 hours long, so they really take their time to put you into this world and experience the life of what it's like to be a patient here. That's something I appreciate about it. So while it slows down the plot a little bit because you're spending so much time learning what it's like to be an actual patient here, it builds it even more and makes everything make more sense for the ones who just won't go against the doctors here and all that stuff.
But yeah, the people who are sort of brainwashed by the idea or whatever. Or are they?
Exactly.
Is Dane DeHaan crazy?
And there's some violence in here that I have not seen in other movies. Like some violence where, they don't violent set pieces like that in other films, but the way it's captured, like a lot of people are talking about this dentist scene.
Oh boy.
And we won't give away how they do it, but they just let the camera roll and you just see what's going on.
Yeah, and that's a thing. There are lots of things in this movie that make me kind of surprised in a happy way that, again, like a big scope, wide release movie is getting the liberty to do some of these things? Because people are going to be talking about a few of these scenes.
Because the film feels big, it feels expensive. So when you get certain scenes of violence, like one that involves a tube going down a guy's throat, the way they show it, the way they do it is
they make you feel it.
Disturbing and kind of impressive.
yeah, because it looks so good that you kind of writhe in your chair, and then you have to pay respect to that. Like, that's effective body horror, is body horror that makes you feel it.
Don't mind the length too much, because even though we started off this review kind of talking about the initial complaint that there's like a part in the middle where you're like, just start giving us some answers. That's part of what makes the film effective, is because it's a mystery and you want answers. You're like biting for some answers. And the Dane DeHaan character's been there a lot longer than we've been in the theater.
Yeah.
So we're there with him going, we want to know the truth of what's going on. It's not like one big reveal all of a sudden. It slowly uncovers over time.
Well, yeah, because he's got to, observe behaviors and look for little clues, and so do we. So, like, that deliberate pacing, I think, is an all right thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not upset about, the moments in the middle where I was like, oh, come on, pick it up.
It's beautifully shot.
Yeah.
It's wonderfully disturbing. It's eerie.
The music's good.
The music is great. The set
really
pieces are really good. Now, without spoiling anything, the finale. In movies like this, the problems tend to come down to the finale, I feel. I could definitely imagine going on Rotten Tomatoes and seeing a bunch of capsules where they're talking about, kind of loses its way in the finale, where it gets a little too crazy.
A little far-fetched.
It gets a little far-fetched in the finale. We won't give it away, but it becomes like, I didn't really see a tone or style like this coming, but I can get on board with it for now.
That's something that makes me want to see this again, because I still don't know if I like the movie as a whole based on that ending or not. And I guess it's cool because it's stuck with me as a film experience. Like, I'm glad I saw it and I'm glad it exists. I don't know yet if I like the ending.
It's one of the biggest questions of this film. What is Jason Isaacs' deal? Who the fuck is this guy? What is he doing? Is he good? Is he bad? I mean, for the most part, the whole film is like saying he's probably bad.
We're led to. I mean,
but then there are times where you're like, well, maybe Dane DeHaan's just a little nuts,
Well, and the movie does, I think, a pretty good job of towing that line, because any movie like this has to. Is our protagonist crazy, or is something sinister actually happening here? I thought Jason Isaacs did, again, with giving nothing away, I thought he played it in a really good, sort of balanced way, where I, a lot of the time, couldn't tell which way they were going to go.
Because there's a lot of reveals that are happening towards the last, half hour of this film. Mm-hmm. A lot's finally being uncovered. One aspect, there's many aspects, but one of the aspects was the one aspect where I was, having issues with, I don't know about this. It had to do with finally figuring out the truth about who Jason Isaacs is, and that's all I'll say.
So I don't know, I guess in a nutshell about this movie, it's ultimately the difference to me between being, is this movie really great, or is it mostly pretty great,
Well, John, that leads us to our rating system time.
Boy. What's the rating system? I think I'll go with good to very good. Is there a middle ground between those two?
Yeah, I'd probably go very good. I'd take it down a notch.
There's some great stuff in it. There's some excellent and or really great, awesome stuff in it, and there's stuff that I really love about it. As a whole piece, I think it's probably very good. Maybe good if I'm feeling kind of harder on it today, but right now I feel like
a second viewing would earn a great rating.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are a couple things that have stuck in my craw that I really want to see if those iron out, because there are things, again, going back to not the ending, the finale per se. Not the big finale thing that everyone's going to be talking about, but just the note the movie actually ends on, I think is cool. Mm-hmm. The actual choice the movie makes about its main character at the end, I think is a cool thing. The true test of time with this movie is going to be, I think, on the second viewing. But I'm really glad we got a film like this, because I love this vibe.
And the rating system means everything. That's why I came up with the most brilliant rating system out there.
And that was all very clear about how we rated it.
Yeah.
Totally.
There's many options in the rating system.
It's very really.
Subscribe to The Real Rejects.
Subscribe.
John is Reasons to Jerry on Twitter and Instagram. He's the social media manager of Bloomhouse and The Real Rejects. And shout out to Gore Verbinski's wife.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if he's married. Let's find out.
Find out. IMDb trivia.
We're already on IMDb.
We're doing it.
Clayton Verbinski. Clayton?
Ooh.
Is he gay?
Is he gay?
Nothing about it on Wikipedia.
About Google.
You type
Clayton
in
Verbinski.
Gore Verbinski on Google, you get Clayton Verbinski. Nah, it's a woman.
That is a gal.
It's a woman.
That's
he ain't gay.
Gal.
That's disappointing.
I just hope they're happy. That's the true test.
I would have liked him more if he was gay.
It'd be cool, but, whatever.
Like the Wachowskis are gay lovers, right?
That's the truth. Exactly as it
They're
happened.
lesbian lovers.
Yeah. All of it.
Celebrity trivia.
Celebrity trivia schmodown.